Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention, April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric, it's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Don't worry about how tough they are. Worry about how tough we must become. We never had a victory without a fight. It's time to strategize and fight back.
Thank you for joining us for Weekdays Live with Reverend Al Sharpton. Take the time to share this broadcast right now. Tell your friends it's time to keep it real with Reverend Al. Comment your questions now in the chat or call Reverend Al Sharpton directly on air at 877-532-5797. Now stay tuned for Reverend Al.
This is Reverend Al Sharpton. As you watch the broadcast, support National Action Network. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and be involved. You can join, take your membership right online, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Getting ready to start the program, but we need you to be part of the movement.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain. But love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress, but you keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice and the judgeship. Dream of preachers who are concerned more about prophecy than profiteering. Dream on the high road with sound values. You must never surrender to inequality.
Thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misuse them and listen to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head.
keep people at a distance that only have a distant
March
and unclear
27th,
who you are.
Women's History Month. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for 20 years, we've been keeping it real with Reverend Al Sharpton, and it is for the next 3 hours. Time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. And good morning to our West Coast listeners. Welcome to those listening on Sirius XM, Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And for the next 3 hours is Exhale Friday. Since we started this show 20 years ago on Fridays, we let you call in and talk about whatever is on your mind, whatever's in your heart. All you have to do is call us at 1-877-532-5797. Don't go in the weekend holding nothing back. Let it out, let it out, let it out. And you that can call in. You that maybe can't call in, you might be sneaking a little listening at the job or somewhere else. You can text to our live stream at www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, and you can go on our message board. Just go right there. The mayor's already checked in. Mayor Rodney Jones of the Queensbridge houses in New York has already checked in, saying good afternoon, my shepherd. It is Exhale Friday. Let it out. Okay, Mr. Mayor, got you. James Thomas is saying good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton, and happy Exhale Hold My Mule Friday. I love it. To you and everyone in the chat room, can't wait for Saturday Action Rally tomorrow. In your words, everybody's singing. All right. Well, I'll be there at the Saturday Action Rally. It's no King's Day, and the march is after the Saturday Action Rally. I'll be at both, so I'll be looking for you. Let me say a lot to talk about today. I was out yesterday. I was in Connecticut. I did the eulogy at the funeral of this young man. Let me tell you, the thing that is so appalling to me is that we are almost normalizing the whole idea of policing being excused. And I, for one, am not going to let it go. We've got some laws changed, but not nearly everything. And they need to be held accountable. And I think that when I got the call from this family about 55-year-old Stevie Jones had a mental episode, had a history of some mental issues, and had a mental episode. Took out a knife, cut himself. Sister called 911. Rather than send an ambulance, they sent three police. Three police came to the scene, tried to talk him down. As they were talking him down, a fourth policeman pulled up and immediately shot him 9 times. No discussion, no nothing. 9 times, 3 of them while he was on the ground. 55-year-old man, overweight, they say over 300 pounds. Now, if he was a threat with the knife, then why wasn't he a threat to the 3 policemen that were trying to talk him down who never even pulled their guns? So this fourth cowboy comes and just shoots him. And a lot of people were saying, well, let's see. And I said, fine. When they called me, I said, let's see with a thorough investigation. An immediate reaction, because they're going to have to tell us immediately what the fourth policeman saw that the three that were already there didn't see. And somebody said to me as we was rolling into Hartford, said, Reverend Al, I read papers or online somewhere you were coming for that funeral. He said, I followed you down through the years, and now that, you've got TV show and radio show and can meet with folks in high office, I was a little, I took note, I think was the term used, that you would come out despite your fame and do this funeral for a mentally disturbed man. And I said, well, you got it twisted. I got famous so I could stand up for men like this man. That's the reason to be famous. Well, you thought I would want to get known just to get known? My purpose was not getting famous. My purpose was whatever spotlight I can get to put a spotlight in the dark places that nobody else would put it. That's why I do radio 7 days a week. And I think that we have had too many activists who got blinded by the glare of the spotlight rather than understanding that their job is to focus the spotlight on what is being hidden. There is a strategy to getting media and spotlight if you use it toward the ends that you should use it as an activist. But if you just getting spotlight and airtime or likes on your social media pages to count out how many people follow you or how famous you are misusing the pain of our people. So that's why I was out. I thank Dominique for sitting in for me, and then Jennifer Jones Austin, Esquire. And I called in for a few minutes, but I'm here today. Now, let's go through what we're going to talk about today, other than what you exhale, and I'm sure some of you will exhale on your own issues that raised. President Trump says that he's ready to pay the TSA workers. I guess he saw enough of the long lines, hours of people at terminals, and they all blamed it on him. And so now he's trying to act like he's saving it by issuing an executive order. Well, if an executive order could pay TSA, why didn't he do that several weeks ago when it started? No, now it's got to go through the Congress. The Senate passed with a voice vote after a 42-day lapse in this. Now it goes to the House. Now there it gets a little interesting because the Senate voted to pay the TSA workers and pay DHS and don't pay ICE, which is what the Democrats demanded, that don't pay ICE until we deal with the reforms in ICE. Senate passed that. Now it gets to the House, and Speaker Mike Johnson is saying, well, stay tuned, because there are some procedural roadblocks in the House. House rules prevent Johnson from fast-tracking a bill at the end of the week, meaning the chamber must follow the standard process, passing a rule first before a full floor vote, which adds time and complexity. This is not going to be done overnight. And the divisions in the GOP could stall the process because you've got some members of the House that are very conservative people that are saying, no, they are not voting for it unless they also are funding ICE. So this is not over. And you have Donald Trump and them to blame, because if they had not started with all or nothing, they would not be faced with this. Now it would have passed, everybody would have been paid, and ICE would have been up for the kind of reform questions that we wanted raised. Same time, we see the Department of Justice, a New York judge has said that they must preserve records after there was a revelation that ICE had provided false information to justify immigration court arrest. They found false information by ICE to go after some of the immigrants in New York. And we can talk about all that. Then, of course, the UN, I was there earlier this week, spoke to the UN calling for a vote on genocide, and led by the president of Ghana, and the UN voted 123-3, declaring transatlantic slave trade the gravest crime against humanity, and urging nations to pursue reparations, formal apologies, and restorative justice measures to address its lasting impact. The United States, Israel, and Argentina voted against the message. The only three that voted against, while the UK and European Union abstained. Now, for you that saw my speech, we put up on live stream, put up on nationalactionnetwork.net. I said abstaining means you're sitting with the side of the wicked or the unrighteous. But we've got it from the UN. The UN voted majority. Now take it to the World Court. Let's make it an international global statement that we need to be paid, and that slavery, the transatlantic slavery, was the gravest crime against humanity. Step by step, that's where we're going. So a lot to talk about today, from the UN to continuing police misconduct, and this one personified by what happened in Hartford, which I was at yesterday, as well as funding the government, funding ICE or not, which is where we are at a stalemate, as people are still in line, going into spring break, going into Christmas, going into spring break, going into Easter and Passover. So now all of a sudden Trump wants to get this resolved, and he's running into problems in his own house, Republican Party, because some of them are saying, no, we're not going to vote for it if you're not going to pay ICE. And the overwhelming majority, the absolute majority, unanimous by Democrats, saying, no, we're not giving no money to ICE until we know the reforms. Y'all want to take those masks off, how you dealing with training where you shot and killed 2 people in Minneapolis. A lot to talk about today. Don't go on the weekend with it. Let it out, let it out, let it out. Keeping it real. Sharpton, 1-877-532-5797. Be right back. Reverend Doctor.
In London, yeah. We've got many problems here. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come.
There we go.
Guys, what's up, Doc? So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church does not come with a prophetic voice, then who's going to do it? We can go through all the data, all the statistics, all we're going through in the workshops, but the question is, where is the action going to be? We all believe in Jesus. Jesus didn't teach theology, he healed people. And they learned the nature of the theology based on his healing. We've got to heal this nation. And if we heal this nation, the nation will return to our churches. But we've become silent and compromised. And we try to blame it on, I'm not in this. You are in this. You live it, your members live it. Unemployment now is higher now than it's been since the pandemic. Yet we survive.
Yes, sir.
There's no history in the world of any people that went through the kind of psychological, cultural, and physical slavery like blacks did in America. The only reason we're still here is because of our faith. We had no external strength. We had an internal strength. And it was the God that we were taught by our mamas and grandmamas that brought us through. And I don't care who's sitting in the White House, we cannot betray the God that brought us through. Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house, house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, it's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. dead.
I'm here because I must be here. Democracy is not there for the pig, and you have to fight for democracy. That's what it is. What Trump will erase, we will replace.
Is the dreamers in many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton time. It's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. You need to keep it real with Reverend Al Sharpton right here on Uber TV. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Happy 20th anniversary to Reverend Al Sharpton on 20 years of Keeping It Real. 2 decades of truth-telling, fearless advocacy, and keeping the people informed and empowered. Thank you for always speaking power to justice and standing firm for what's right. Here's to 20 years of impact and many more to come.
Your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797, and it's Exhale Friday. And one of the things that I did not mention that the mayor texted me into our message board is that the Secretary of Defense, he said Secretary of War, Hegseth, is blocking the promotion of 4 Army officers to 1-star general. There's 4 that have qualified that's supposed to be promoted. 2 of them are black, 2 of them are women, and he refuses to promote them. That's your MAGA, Make America Great Again crowd. Let me say by way of announcements that tomorrow and Sunday, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. It will be jumping. As some of you may have seen me announce on Morning Joe this morning, that I'm going to have on this weekend Senator Cory Booker. I'm going to have on Congressman Dan Goldman. I'm going to have on Greg Meeks, leading member Congress in Foreign Affairs. I'm going to have Kwesi and Fume. I'm going to have those that are helping to lead, and I'm part of it, the No Kings March tomorrow. And I'm marching in New York. We have chapters around the country. Randy Weingarten of the American Federation of Teachers and Lee Saunders of the AFSCME, American Federation of State and Government Employees. They will be on the show with me. And then in studio, coming from the march with me, Robert De Niro, the actor, will be with me on tomorrow on Politics Nation. And Billy Porter, the artist, rock star, Both of them will be with me. So between all of this firepower and star power, and it being no King's March tomorrow and what's going on, you really need to watch Politics Nation both nights. You're not going to have a lineup of people that I'm going to dig in and ask the real hard questions, and including the celebrities, because we need to do that. Then you have, of course, the Saturday Action Rally. You that are in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut vicinity, certainly some are coming down from Hartford for the case I'm helping there. They will be there. Many of you that are doing No King's March on Saturday will come and be with us that morning to go down, because I'm going down. March starts in Manhattan at 2 o'clock. And then De Niro and Billy Porter and Manny Weingarten all will be joining me at the studio at 5. But be at the Saturday Action Rally. I'll be there in the morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at House of Justice series that is being held temporarily at Mother AME Zion Church in Harlem, 137th Street and Lenox Avenue. And we are about just near closing on our building that we bought. We already signed the contract of purchase. I've asked for 1,000 people to give $500 to help us with the purchase of the building, and people just start jumping up at the rally giving it. If you don't have it, still come to the rally, and you that around the country that watch it can go online and help us as we own our own House of Justice building, so we don't have to keep going through that. I want to have that headquarters. Also, I want to announce that the convention of National Action Network, of course, starts in about 12 days. And we are well over 9,000 pre-registered. We've expanded the rooms. It's free. Everyone has confirmed, from Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania to Governor Westmore of Maryland to Governor Pritzker of Illinois to Governor Beshear of Kentucky. All of them have confirmed to come speak. Former Vice President Kamala Harris is going to speak Friday. We're going to have Billy Porter is going to be at the convention, the artist. On and on and on. You need to go to our social media pages. You can find out who's appearing when. They're all free, but you should pre-register, because we will go by registration. There's no convention like it. We get those that are in power and influence there and hear what they have to say about our issues. Some I do fireside chat where I ask questions. Others we let them speak. And then we have workshops where we work on our agenda. Ministers, women activists, youth activists. You get the whole breakdown as you go to nationalactionnetwork.net. And I don't know a more important time. National Action Network's 35 years old this year. We'll be commemorating that. But I don't know a time in the 35 years that we need more than ever National Action Network and our convention, because this man in the White House trying to really literally turn voting rights with the SAVE Act literally has us on the verge of wars that we can't get out of, dealing with oil, dealing with the fact that he's playing games with countries that really have done to lose. So you need to be at the convention this year. Let's take a break. I'm coming back and going straight to the phones. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back. And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they are changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Black. We want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunity, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they did, started at Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP would put forward together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation. Then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back to this.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 Black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they gotta open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their home, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the door's open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797, or you can go to the message board and give me a message on our message board. And Tanya Stovall's on there saying, "Amen, James Thomas, our parents, etc. We're all on point and way ahead of time. All things are still true today." And I see Jamari Jefferson saying, watching from 2131 Cliff Walcott Street, Twin Towers, Westbury, Connecticut. All right, Westbury is on our message board. I like looking at the message board to see what a lot of people are saying. James Thomas is saying that Reverend Al, I thought an executive order couldn't overrule a law, so I'm kind of puzzled on how Trump can sign an executive order to get TSA workers paid. Will that order get challenged? And I think it will. I think that it is, right, on one level of the argument, James, the TSA workers are federal employees under DHS. So you can say that an executive order under federal government by the head of the government should be ordered. But then the question becomes, then where do the funds come from? And if they have not passed the budget, if they've not passed the DHS money, then where are they going to pay the TSA people from? Now, if they pass it and agree as the Senate has and say, okay, fine, we'll put the ICE money aside and just fund DHS, and they voted for that. Problem is, in the House, you got people saying, Republicans, they're not voting for it unless ICE the money, which then neutralizes the executive order as I read it. So it may be a whole lot about nothing. But the question is, if he could have done it by executive order, why didn't he do it in the first place? Why did he let these people suffer all this time?
And why are the Republicans in the Senate that now all of a sudden say, okay, fine, we'll reform ICE, put it over here? Why did you do that in the first place? Because you underestimated the sustained indignation of the public. Let's go to the phones on exhale Friday. Let me go to Chicago to my dear friend, the beloved Miss Eunice. Miss Eunice. I don't hear Miss Eunice.
We got to get her back.
All right, let's get her back. Let me stay in Chicago. Go to Pam, the activist extraordinaire out of Chicago. Pam.
Hello, Reverend Sharpton. How are you?
Doing well. How you doing, Pam?
Overall, I'm well. Good to hear you. And it was great hearing Dominique as she served in your stead.
Thank you.
The other day, so it was good to hear her. Reverend Sharpton, I'm going to start with something. It's not as serious, but it's just kind of inspirational. And it's just to young women and people. I want to say congratulations to Coco Gauff. I love tennis. And watch it frequently. And she's made it to the finals of the Miami Open.
Yeah, she's very good.
So, yes. So I'm just saying, for those of you who have young people and they might need inspiration, it's just nice to see a young lady doing her thing and doing it very well in the United States in tennis. So if you want to watch the final, that's coming on Saturday, and it may be around in the evening. So I would definitely check that out. And then for the men in tennis, also there is a young Frenchman, black Frenchman, Arthur Feast, and he's in the semifinals today. So I'm just saying, I love.
What's his name? I'm not familiar with him. Let me look him up. What's his name?
Sure. He's a Frenchman, and it's spelled Arthur, but they pronounce, I guess, in French, Arthur.
Okay.
We would say Arthur.
Right.
And his last name is Feast, and it's spelled Fils.
Feast.
And
okay.
the L is silent.
Right.
So he'll be playing today, black Frenchman, in the semifinal. Very, emotional, and the Miami crowd seems to be with him. So I'm just saying, our black young people need to see black people doing different sports, different things, and excelling. So, and I think you'll enjoy the sport if you've never watched it before. So I just wanted to say that on a less serious note. More serious, Reverend Sharpton, we should be supporting NAN, PUSH, NAACP, all of the churches that are fighting the fight against this sexual predator in the White House and his rogue administration. That's first and foremost. We're in tax time, so let's make sure we at least take out an amount of money and get memberships and donate. I am so glad that your conference is coming up in April. I cannot be there, but I support it wholeheartedly with my money and also with my prayers that everything will be successful. And I'm just asking everybody to do the same. It's time for all of us to get in the game.
Absolutely.
So all of us to get in the game. It's time. What they say, go time. This is go time.
Absolutely.
Because we're in a war. And it'll be our brothers and sisters, uncles and aunts and relatives that'll go, not theirs. And we don't know. I believe boots on the ground are coming. You probably can better assess that situation, Reverend Sharpton, because you've taught a lot of the experts. But from what I've been reading and what I've been hearing, we're escalating to boots on the ground, meaning that we will be in a full-fledged war, putting our troops at risk. And that should be unacceptable to all of us. This was unnecessary, and this just was a cover-up for the Epstein file. I haven't forgot about Epstein, child rapist, and his best friend is in the White House. Let's keep that forefront, and let's remember it. Reverend Sharpton, you publicly are supporting No King's Day. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes.
Or am I?
Yes.
Okay, let me say thank you for that. Also, I just want to say, with the No Kings Day, I want to see a no rapists and no kings. I want to see that sign. Also, I want to see Kamala Harris told you so.
I like
Reverend
that.
Sharpton,
I might give me one of those signs. I'm going to march with them in New York and speak in New York. We've got our chapters around the country because I think this is one that we need to go across all racial lines, gender, and all that. Everybody need to say. I said on a morning Joe this morning, I don't care what you believe. You could be a Republican. You just could be against him being a king. Everybody needs to rally around because that's what he's trying to do.
Thank you. And then there are steps, Stacey Abrams, she very clearly wrote about and articulated the steps to fascism.
Right.
And so we're definitely headed that way. We will go into this war, and then he'll try to eliminate the elections. My other point, really quick, Reverend Sharpton, with this, I guess the bill that's coming up that they've passed to pay the TSA workers.
Right.
I've called, my senators and my congressmen. My concern is that if this is passed and they start to fund TSA and maybe some other agencies within DHS, that this rogue administration, this rogue president will find a way to divert those funds from paying TSA. So I've asked that some kind of safeguard be placed within the legislation, or give us some assurances, and it has to be more than his promise and his word, that he won't divert these funds once they're approved and allocated to do something else.
Or that there be some guardrails where he can't do it. As I said, I'm going to have Congressman Meeks on, one of the leading Democrat on the House Foreign Affairs, and Kwesi Fume on this weekend on Politics Nation. I'm going to ask them, is there a way to guarantee that he cannot violate it? I'm going to ask them. That's why I'm glad we do the Exhale Friday, because I know what I'm going to do Saturday and Sunday on the air. That's great.
I appreciate it, and I definitely will be watching and tuned in. And my last statement is this. Reverend Sharpton, we all need to be on board. And I've asked, about just some type of financial pressure that we need to put on these banking institutions and other institutions related to their support of the rogue administration, as well as them still participating in anti-DEI efforts.
Wow.
So I'm still advocating that we do something economically. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm on board with whatever it is. If it's a mass withdrawal of our money from banks, and then we find another source to deposit our money in, preferably black-owned credit union or banking institution, wherever we deem that we need to do that, I'm on board. And I know it's an inconvenience because we all have our mortgage payments and, whatever other bills being directly, withdrawn from our accounts, or we have checks that are directly deposited into accounts. But as consumers, we have to be able to say, we're ready to make a move.
That's
we don't
right.
have health care. Children aren't being fed. He's dismantling the Department of Education. Just upending everything in the black community, all based on hate. So I'm saying the people, we said we told you so. We came out in overwhelming numbers and voted for Kamala Harris.
Right.
Now, I will admit, more of us need to come out and vote. That's always the case. But we can't negate the 4 million or so that were indeed purged. So I'm hopefully the Democratic Party is looking at that data. We're monitoring it. But I'm just saying, as consumers, we have a right to exercise some power.
No, and I want us to really be serious about it. We're going to come out of the convention, Pam, with what states we're going to focus on, exactly what you say, so that if they play games with the Save America Act, we can counter it. And like you said about Kamala Harris is going to speak at the convention. She's coming. Westmore, Cory Booker, all of these people coming to address voting and address where we're going in terms of our economic interests in our community. So I'm glad you raised exactly what we're doing, and it's all free. Let me take my break. I'll be right back. Thank you for your call, Pam, as always. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keeping it real.
I thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures.
But if I misuse them and listen to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about tonight. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke.
And so I now have the pleasure of bringing on the mentor of Black America's Attorney General, the fount of this, Reverend Al Sharpton, who is for 4 decades a central figure in the U.S. struggle for racial justice from the streets to the Senate, a civil rights leader, founder of the National Action Network, and of course, host of MSNBC's Politics Nation. Please take the floor.
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that I'm going to be very personal in the sense that I came to the UN 30-some-odd years ago with a great African leader. I was part of the delegation with Nelson Mandela when he addressed the General Assembly about sanctions in South Africa. I come many times since then, and I'm here today because I believe another great African leader, President Muhammad, is raising an issue that is very important and personal to us. As Attorney Crump has said, we have fought on many cases, and I'm doing a eulogy tomorrow, day after tomorrow, of a young man killed in Hartford, Connecticut. But all of these are just examples of a systemic problem that has not been dealt with. We can keep running from incident to incident, but if we do not deal with the underlying systematic problem, and that is that there are those that feel they have the right and the supremacy over other humans, and they will never be held accountable for it and never pay for it. This resolution is an attendance sheet on what nations stand for what. This is not a new call. I come out of the Martin Luther King School of Thought, but Malcolm X said we may have to go to the UN. One of his main disciples, Dr. James Smalls, is with us. Queen Mother Moore said this. Queen Mother Blakely's here. Sister, I don't come with others that have not. Sister Salam. These are people that have been in the streets for decades. And State Senator Sanders, all of us, but many of them preceding me. The question is not what the people feel. The people have stated their feelings and will continue to and must galvanize. The question is, what do nations stand for? When I hear nations saying they're going to abstain from a vote, how do you abstain from being a racist and a bigot? How do you abstain from paying your debt to people that you worked for centuries and never paid? How do you abstain from the guilt and the blood that's on your hands while you deposit money in banks that your forefathers didn't earn and our forefathers worked and never got paid? Your Excellency, I say it's personal because in 2007, a reporter came to me from a local tabloid, the Daily News, and said that they were doing something around Black History Month in America. And they wanted to do a trace of our family tree. I told him, fine with me. He said, I'll be back. He came back with another reporter. He said, do you know your great-grandfather? I said, no, I knew my grandfather on my father's side. I didn't know my great-grandfather. He said, well, we traced him. He said, do you know where he was from? I said, they were from Florida, my grandfather and my father. He said, no, they were from Edgefield, South Carolina. I said, no, I never knew that. He said, your great-grandfather was named Coleman Sharpton, and he was owned by a woman named Anna Thurman Sharpton. He said Anna Thurman Sharpton was the aunt to Strom Thurman, a leading segregationist. He said Anna Thurman Sharpton was the aunt to Strom Thurman, a leading segregationist. He said the reason we found it is that when Alexander Sharpton died, his widow, Anna Thurman, sold her slaves to Florida, who was your great-grandfather. That's only 3 generations from me. We talk about this stuff like this is some bygone generation. My mother had to sit in the back of the bus and couldn't help me with homework when she came to Brooklyn, New York, had me. I never sat in the back of a bus, but I was raised by them that never got paid for what was done. We are sitting in the United Nations, but it is in the United States where they're right now deciding whether they will continue to allow us to vote properly. They're going to vote on whether or not we are going to have our right to voting, our right to redress. And if the United Nations sends a resounding message on President's resolution that we don't care about the debt owed, you are signaling those that are trying to trump the world that you can do whatever you want to do to us. So my challenge is, and the experts have given the great background and the preceding speakers have given the facts, but my appeal is that you will not define our humanity. You will define where you stand for humanity. When you vote for your nation, history will record that after the genocide perpetrated on people, after the worst form of abuse that we've seen in terms of the slave trade that is in this resolution, that if your nation would authorize you to either vote no or have laryngitis and act like you can't speak up at all, then you are co-signing this brutal form of slavery. There will be nobody that will duck being called on the carpet tomorrow. Either you stand for justice or you sit with the unrighteous. Either you stand... Either you stand for justice or you are part of the problem. Either you stand for those that want to be free or you're just as bad as the slave masters that held us bondage. Thank you. Friday, whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, 1-877-532-5799. 971-877-532-5797, or go to the message board and send us a message at live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net, live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. And I see on the message board, Lee Sales says, you have the platform and the power to honor and raise up small black businesses in New York. Yes, we do. And Lee Sales, you ought to come to a rally and help us with the business committee. Now that we're buying this, our own headquarters, I'm going to form a Black Business League. So I'm glad you volunteered by sending that. I look forward to the rally tomorrow because you're correct. And I want us to, one of the reasons I'm buying property right there in Harlem is to deal with the fact that not only are we being gentrified, a lot of us are submitting to it, and a lot of us are not supporting our own businesses. So, but I want to do it from our own folks' headquarters, which we've already signed a contract. We close in a few days. So I agree with you. But I want black businessmen also to support the movement, or at least be at rallies, so we know who we support. I absolutely agree with you. Let's go to back to the phone. It's Exhale Friday. Miss Eunice, we have Miss Eunice, my dear friend, Miss Eunice from Chicago.
Good afternoon, Rep. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I would like to ditto what Pam said. And the Women's History Month is almost over. I give praise to Viola Liuzzo, a white mother of 5 from Detroit, and she went south to help in the movement. And she was killed by a Klansman in 1965. And if my memory serves me right, she was going to Montgomery to pick up people to work with a young man, African-American by the name of Leroy Moulton. He was 19 years old, and he played dead after she was shot. And she was the only white woman killed during the civil rights movement, according to records. I say rest in peace, Viola Liuzzo. There's a monument for her on U.S. Highway 80, about 20 miles east of Selma, and I think the marker was erected by women of the SCLC.
Right.
You know about that?
Yeah. In fact, Mrs. Lowry, who was the head of the women of SCLC, married to Joseph Lowry, the former chair of it. Mrs. Lowry, Evelyn Lowry, I ended up doing the eulogy at her funeral at Morehouse College. She was the head of the women of SCLC and had that erected. And you're right, Viola Luisa was an Italian woman out of Detroit, drove south to join and help with the voting rights movement, and used her car to help transport marches back and forth as they did the 10-day march that we replicated years later. And they killed her in one of her going back and forward driving the marches, and they killed her for being a white woman down there helping us get the right to vote. That is an accurate story.
Yeah, they tried to act as though there was something nefarious going on. And finally, Rep, for Trump to call a cabinet meeting and the staff laugh at the stupid things he say talking about a pen and his cognitive skill is a disgrace. And he had the nerve to go and vote by mail, but he doesn't want others to do so. He calls that cheating, so I guess he cheated. And I'm looking forward to the big march tomorrow. And God bless you, and I'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, look forward to talking to you on Monday. And like I said, we'll be part of the March National Action Network all over the country tomorrow. Many of our chapters are energized. I'll be doing it in New York, and I'll be doing a lot of it on Politics Nation tomorrow night. And some of the entertainers, Robert De Niro and Billy Porter, will be coming to the studio with me from the march doing Politics Nation. But I'm also going to have on Cory Book and others to deal with the issues and the leaders, some of the leaders of the march, Randy Weingarten, union leader, and Lee Saunders. All right, let's go to TJ in Atlanta, Georgia, WAOK. TJ?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Now, yeah, I don't agree with this shutdown, and the part that I have to put some blame on the Democrats, because I don't think it's right that these workers are not getting their money and they have to go to work, that's like slavery. And I think some fights is good, but this fight, they shouldn't pick this fight because it's hurting the workers. And they already got the fund for the ICE, I think, through the big, beautiful bill. So I just think Democrats should let this one go and let these people get their money.
So you don't blame the Republicans, you blame the Democrats.
Well, the Republicans gonna do what they're gonna do. You know, they already, you know, they don't care about the workers. And I'm just saying, at some point, I think Democrats got to put the American people before the immigrants.
All right, but how do you respond to now Trump is saying he's going to do an executive order to pay them?
I think he should do it. He should have been
but he wouldn't have done that if the Democrats hadn't stood up to him.
I can't argue with that. I'm just saying, you know, if someone got to go to work, I just think they should get paid.
And I think you're absolutely right. I'm just saying, thank you for your call. I think you're absolutely right. They should get paid. But I think if the Democrats stood up and made him buckle to where now he's saying he'll do an executive order, and now he's jamming his own House members on whether or not they are going to go along with the Senate who say, yeah, go ahead and pay him, and don't put no money in ICE, then I think the Democrats on this one are strategically ahead. Now, let's see where it goes because we don't know where the House vote's going to be. But I absolutely think it was outrageous these people can get paid. No doubt about it. You and I are not disagreeing on that. Thank you for your call. I see, is it Javisa General says, good afternoon, Reverend Al. Update, I live in Connecticut and just heard that officer who shot the man you eulogized yesterday has been fired. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do for the people. Well, I'm glad if he was fired, and I certainly met with the governor and others, but I want to also see him being prosecuted. He killed the man, and my purpose was to put some spotlight on it, and I hope what I did and what Ben Crump did helped, but we're not finished. We're going to stay with that family. Let's go to Disco Brian in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, WURD, the word. Disco Brian.
Amen, Rev. First, some good news here out of Philly. Pennsylvania State Senator Sharif Street was just endorsed by the black clergy of Philadelphia. He had already earned the endorsement of the Muslim League of Voters of the Delaware Valley. And, he's also running what appears to be a really genuinely diverse coalition campaigning in Pennsylvania's 3rd District. So I want WURD listeners to know that the first interview on our YouTube channel, Disco Brian Davis, is my conversation with Senator Street, and the interview is called "Can Democrats Beat the Algorithm?" And what we do there, Rev, is we talk about many of the same issues that you and I discuss here: media, culture, political memory, and the moral confusion that is spread online 24/7. So Senator Street is a practicing Muslim, and what stands out to me, perhaps more than everything, other than our shared love of Prince, is that he speaks with unusual clarity about anti-Semitism, including anti-Semitism that is rising in parts of the left, of the far left that you and I have discussed, Rev. And that kind of honesty is really needed right now. So if listeners are weighing the May 19th primary in Pennsylvania's 3rd District, I hope they'll give it a listen. I've invited the other primary candidates to an interview as well. And Rev, you've been talking a lot about the disgraceful UN vote. I think it's important to remember that the president that the far left activists in Pink and DSA kept drowning out with chants of Genocide Joe was also the president who, on December 3rd of 2024, at Angola's National Museum of Slavery in Luanda, publicly acknowledged America's role in the transatlantic slave trade and called slavery our nation's original sin. So imagine how different the vote at the UN and America's moral standing might have been if enough people had turned out for the overqualified black woman running to succeed him. And Rev, that leads me to this. The Progressive Caucus and the broader left need to remember who has actually carried the Democratic Party. Not some romantic fantasy of the white working class man that they are forever chasing. I don't know how many times I have to say this, and I've called all the offices of all the offenders directly, and their office staff don't really like receiving my phone calls. But I'll tell you, Rev, the backbone of the Democratic Party is black voters, black women especially.
No doubt about
that's why.
No, hold on a minute. Let me hold you over just a minute. Hold on a minute, Brian. We keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back. Keeping it real.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain, but love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress, but you keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice and the judgeship. Dream of preachers who are concerned more about prophecy than profiteering. Dream on the high road with sound values. You must never surrender to inequality. Women.
Hi, it's Reverend Al Sharpton, President and founder of National Action Network. We are at the very end of 2025, and I want to first say that I want to thank all of the officers, chapter leaders, regional directors, national staff, and certainly National Board of National Action Network for a solid and absolutely incredible year in 2025. Despite the fact that we are under assault, voting rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the battles globally where we're seeing Nigeria and Venezuela attacked, and on and on and on. We have been steadfast as an activist organization in the tradition of Dr. King. We started the year with a national call that thousands responded to, and we were in Washington on our side of town while Trump was being inaugurated on the other side of town. And we made a pledge. We told people to lift their hand and make the pledge. And we kept that pledge to work all year to keep the dream alive. And that led into when Trump went after DEI, we supported some that were boycotting, and we started boycotting, something that had never happened. We said we're going to go buy from those that have committed to keep DEI, and went in several cities around Costco's and Sharpton. We've now bought stock in other companies. We're going to shareholder meeting and demand they continue DEI. We've had a sensational National Action Network convention covering the span of activity, from political empowerment to education, to how we deal with the black church, how we deal with black women development that has to deal with both discrimination based on gender and race. And of course, we came to Wall Street by the thousands and marched in late summer on the anniversary of the March on Washington. And People thought you could not get people out, and they came from all over the country. And we marched on Wall Street and had an enormous turnout. The only mass black march, black-led march this year. We had a lot of protests, a lot of marches. I salute all No Kings marches and all. But the black organization march, they welcomed everybody. We had white, black, everybody there. Was our march on Wall Street in August. And then our Triumph Award and on into our fall agenda of organizing, mobilizing. We've expanded. We've started chapters in about 12 new cities. So I am proud of what we've done this year, but it's only the beginning because our very rights are under attack, and they're not even being quiet about it. They want to revoke the Voting Rights Act. Section 2 may fall with this bill. They want to end the Civil Rights Act of 64. That's what the end of DEI is about. So let us be more alert and active than ever. History will decide whether the civil rights gains of the 50s and 60s died in the 2020s. That's on your watch and mine. So if we've got to march, we have to protest, we have to lobby, we have to rally, whatever we need to do, we need to put our shoulder to the wheel more than ever. I'm going to lay out a plan on King Day, both in Harlem at our annual event and in Washington at our annual Martin Luther King Day breakfast that we do in D.C. We do cities that day. And then, of course, all roads lead to New York to paper for our convention. We had, as I said, the largest attended convention last year in 2025. It needs to be more this year because our very existence is at stake. We also are closing our negotiations on a new headquarters, our national headquarters that befit our mission. I'm so excited about it, but I can't give you details. We're just about ready to sign the contract, but it will be something that will last longer than many of our lifetimes. So we came alive in 25, despite a hostile administration, despite the fact that a lot of people were intimidated and spooked into silence. We came alive in 25. Now we have to straighten out tricks in 26. I need you. We need each other. Let's do this. All these tricks, don't forget, Trump only won by 1.5%. He is trying to act like he has a mandate. No, he has a mission, Project 2025. We have the mandate that we can't let them undo what has been done. And we must even go further for the empowerment of all people. Happy New Year, and be focused. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention, April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric. It's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host.
www.nationalactionnetwork.net.
Reverend Al Sharpton. It's Exhale Friday. Let's go back to Brian in Philadelphia. Brian.
Exhaling Rev. As I was saying, thank you for letting me carry over, and I don't want to waste anyone else's time and let you get on to exhaling. But as I was trying to say, is the backbone of the Democratic Party are black voters and explicitly black women, and Jewish Democrats are also a vital part of the coalition and shouldn't be treated as disposable, negotiable, or too inconvenient to defend right now. And Rev, that's why I want to give credit to Congressman Brad Schneider of Illinois and Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow, who I hope you will invite onto Politics Nation soon. She is running for the U.S. Senate. Both of those politicians have said out loud, Rev, what far too many Democrats have avoided saying. Schneider called Hassan Piker, quote, an unapologetic anti-Semite, and warned that Democrats lose credibility condemning hate on the right when we tolerate or platform it on our own side. And McMurrow said plainly that someone who says misogynistic and anti-Semitic things for clicks and followers is not someone Democrats should be campaigning with. She says a big tent is one thing, a no standards tent is another. And Rev, you know, this guy Hassan Piker, man, I hate besmirching your show with a name like that. This is the guy that just traveled to Cuba, as you know, on behalf of world socialism or something, and stayed in a five-star hotel and wore glasses that cost $1,300, and yet here he is talking about socialism and Marxism and all this garbage. And he's the guy that went on comedian bigot Theo Vaughn's podcast, Rev, and they had a hearty old chuckle about how easy racism used to be back in the good old days. So that's, and again, Rev, this is a man who earned a big hug at the victory party for Mamdani from AOC, and who has never atoned or apologized for saying, quote, it doesn't matter if effing rapes happened on October 7th. So that's Hassan Piker. And Rev, I know you'll be speaking at the No Kings rally in New York City, which I'm delighted that you will be as the leader of the civil rights movement on that stage. Rev, will you also be speaking at tomorrow night's Choose Your Fighter rally?
I don't know anything about that. No. I'll be doing my TV show tomorrow.
You don't know about that, Rev?
No, and I got to whoa, Brian, you can't talk through two segments.
Sorry, Rev.
Thank you for your call. Let me go to TJ in Atlanta, WAOK. TJ?
Hey, Rev, hey, Space, it's Cliff from Connecticut, but I'll stay off for a minute.
All right, go ahead.
Listen, thank you so much, man, for coming to Connecticut, you know, and doing the eulogy, but also taking a stand on this police misconduct. And Rev, without a doubt, it's not police misconduct or the use of power, it's hatred. You know, again, I repeat that we're not seeing black police officers afflict this type of misconduct or hatred towards white individuals, particularly those that have mental health. So we're not even seeing that in Connecticut, not across the country. But also let me say this in reference to reparation, we need definitely, without a doubt, Rev, our Democratic presidential nominees, whoever it may be, I hope Kamala Harris does run, but they got to talk about reparations. You went to the UN and we had 3 countries, Argentina, Israel, and the United States. So my point is, Democrat, Republicans, somebody needs to speak on this issue of reparations for black people. So I hope they do. And if all the nominees that want the Democratic black vote, they need to speak and deal with this issue, particularly the Democratic Party with reparations. Does that make a little bit of sense?
Thank you for your call. Let's go to Todd in Cleveland, Ohio. Todd. Is Todd there?
I don't know. We have to get him back, probably.
All right, let me go on to Ronnie then, Philadelphia, WURD Word.
Hey, Reverend Al, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm so forward looking to the convention. This is going to be our 5th year. Me and my wife coming up.
Oh, great!
And I want to just mention Eric Kelly won $12 million earlier this week for 24 years in New Jersey, innocent. And the city of Patterson was saying, "Oh, well, let us off the hook for the $48 million because it would bankrupt the city." So the judge let them off the hook. They're going to see if Eric Kelly is going to file an appeal on that. But, Rev, I want to turn the spotlight on the Feckless, New Jersey Conviction Review Unit. 600 applications, 8 years, only 2 exonerations. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I sent you all the information, and so that's what I'm looking forward to, is addressing my wrongful conviction nightmare, 43 years. I've been home almost 8 years, still seeking my exoneration. I told you about that before, Rev. But I really want to shine the spotlight on all the innocent people that's still locked up.
And I think we definitely should. And we've got to even make that even more visible. I think you're absolutely correct. Thank you for your call. Nicola DeMarco is on our message board from Tacoma, Washington, saying, "Good afternoon, Rev and Nan family. I look forward to seeing everyone at the Nan convention and tomorrow for No King's Day. The TSA lines are the new Trump Train 26. I like that, Nicola, and I'm looking for you at the convention, and I'm glad you'll also be part of the No Kings March. And I think that it is clear, absolutely clear, that we need to really, really keep the pressure on from no matter where we are in this society. We're all under siege from every group in this country, every ethnic group, every racial group, certainly blacks, but also others, every age group. Seniors have been done in with the Affordable Care Act, particularly expiring, particularly them because they're on fixed income. Young people have been targeted when they've cut back on funds to schools, funds to education, public schools. So I don't care what side you're on, you need to keep fighting. And I think that it is that spirit that we must go into our next phase as Nan has it celebrates at the convention 35 years, as we get ready to move into our permanent building and new leadership in Nan. It's got to be fighters. I want to make sure I leave the organization owning the property it's owned and being able to go ahead, but in the hands of people that know what they're doing. I'm not just looking for people that, I'm young, I want to be the next Sharpton. No. If you in the movement, it's going to be chosen from young people inside. People that didn't think enough to join should not think enough to give advice. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Exhale Friday. Be right back.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention, April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric, it's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Don't worry about how tough they are. Worry about how tough we must become. We never had a victory without a fight. It's time to strategize and fight back.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth. Thank you, Nan. Thank you, Rev. Thank you, everybody who puts this together and sends it out across the world, because we need much more of it. Bless you.
Thing past hope, because I grew up, like I said, single mama on welfare, and my mother told me there's a part in life that hope's gonna run out. But she told me you got a double barrel in your engine. I said, what is that? She said, you can switch from hope to faith. Faith is a little deeper than hope. Bishop Hilly is here. Faith is when hope runs out. Faith is the substance of things. Hope for the evidence of things not seen. Faith is when we were emancipated after 246 years of slavery and walked off the plantations with no education, no money, no future. And we built black churches and black colleges and black fraternities. We had faith. Faith made us stand up to the most powerful nation in the world and turn it around. Faith means we went from the back of the bus to the front of the White House. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed us yet. Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight, they did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich New Dennis, said, I don't care, my families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, it's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad news, but we're back. Don't forget Politics Nation with Al Sharpton tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. And among my guests this weekend will be, of course, leaders of the No Kings March, which National Action Network and I are joining, and all over the country, our chapter, as well as we're going to have on Lee Saunders and Randy Weingarten, part of the leadership. We're going to have Billy Porter will be live in studio with me, and as well as Robert De Niro, 5 o'clock Eastern Time, both Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to have also over the weekend Cory Booker, the senator from New Jersey, Dan Goldman. I will also have Congressman Greg Meeks on what, as the ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, what all of this is meaning that is developed in Iran, and many others. But tomorrow for No Kings Day on into Sunday, watch Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5. Talking about No Kings Day, one of the leaders and conceivers of this mammoth movement is on our live line. She is, of course, you would know her as the fighting president of the American Federation of Teachers, and my sister beloved, Randy Weingarten. Randy, I'm hearing people all over the country on the radio show and elsewhere getting ready for No Kings Day tomorrow.
Absolutely. And Rev, your support of it early on was really vital and incredible, because what it made it clear, because of Nan's support and your support, that this is a multi-coalition movement, and this is a whole a lot of freedom fighters from different walks of life basically saying, if we don't have a democracy that works for all of us, that a democracy that listens to the people, then what happens is there's fertile ground for there to be a king, which is what Donald Trump has become. And we see in nations across the world that people have lost their democracy being elected, and then that person becomes a tyrant, a monarch, a dictator, not a president or not the leader of the people who elected them. And that's what the No Kings movement is about, because it's like you can't get things done. We can't get to freedom. We can't get to civil rights. We can't get to gas prices being lower. We can't get to economic security. We can't get ICE agents to be reined in unless there's a democracy. And that's what we've learned over all this time. So you being there was a big signifier to the civil rights movement that this was real and that this was a movement that was different than, frankly, any other that we've had in the modern era.
No, and I think your being at the helm of it with those that you worked with putting it together has made it where Nash X Network and I had no hesitation, because you've been there with us from day one on our issues. And it's time for us to unite all of our issues to understand that we may, some groups, not you and I, but some groups may have tactical differences, but none of us can afford a king. And I think that the genius of tomorrow and the genius of what you all put together was to say that we don't have to agree on every footnote, but we all need to agree that we can't have a king. And it's put together this mammoth movement that I think will really be historic and change not only the climate of the country, but probably change the midterm elections and the elections in 28.
I completely agree with you, and I saw it in I saw what happens. I mean, you and I have both been part of a lot of mass mobilization efforts, but what I saw happening in both last June and in last fall's No King rallies is it gave people the courage to actually do the work that people have been whispering about, because autocrats, I mean, you saw this, Southern governors in the Jim Crow era, they operate on fear. They want people to stay home, shut their mouths, not say anything. And in the current era, you can get doxxed. You can, somebody can, shoot some bullets across your lawn. There's a lot of ways in which people they can try to criminalize our beloved attorney general. There's lots of different ways that people have created, or that the Trump administration and his allies has created this kind of fear. So when all of a sudden there's a lot of regular folks doing these rallies and having fun at it, and you see like a white woman who's in her 70s, hanging out with, kids who were in their 20s, and they're all having fun with each other, it gives people a sense of courage and also a sense that saying, oh, we're not alone. There are a lot of other people who agree with us. So that's why these things become really important. And I saw it, but particularly in the fall, when you just saw after that rally, you started seeing polls kind of shoot up for Democrats. You started seeing people saying, I'm going out to the polls. I'm not afraid to go and cast my vote.
Right.
And so this is part of why this is so important.
And one of the things that I think that makes this so important is, like you say, it must be diverse, and not only in race or gender or sexual orientation, but in agendas. And I think one of the reasons that the conveners like yourself were able to get all of us on board is you helped convene the March on Wall Street with National Action Network last year. So when you got people that work with you, it gives you a comfort level, you and other organizers. But I think that whatever the differences may be, and I don't see them as major with some that are on considered the center or the left, we're facing a man that is openly, with no pretense at all, trying to become a king. I don't understand what people that don't get it don't get. It's just clear. You don't have to paint a picture where Donald Trump is telling you that he's trying to be king.
I mean, you're totally right, Rev. But what has happened in our politics in the United States is like if you don't agree 100%, then all of a sudden, because of social media and other types of things, all of a sudden you're each other's enemy.
Right.
And part of the muscle here is to say, no, we have to create in a democracy. You protect the rights of people, freedom and the rights. But when you want change in a democracy, you got to get to 50% and one, which means you have to create a coalition that is willing to actually respect each other. And, I learned that, and you know this, I learned that a huge lesson on any of the times that we're trying to get money for schools or, frankly, marriage equality, or when we're trying to get, changes in terms of, brutality and making the police actually, respect people. And so every time we're trying to get anything that's new or different and is based upon opportunity for all, you gotta talk to people. So this is a big way of showing coalitions together, all organized around, we could fight about an issue, but we want to have the ability to fight about that issue, not have a king tell us what to do and determine, the fate of America because of his predilections. He said it. He said the only way, remember there was an interview that he did with the New York Times a few months ago where he essentially said, my only limitations is my morality.
Yeah.
That is not what the Constitution of the United States of America says. The Constitution says you make decisions based upon the will of the people. And if you go to war, you've got to get a War Powers Act. It can't just be your whim. And he doesn't care. Thus, we, the people, have to actually step up and say, no, we care. And our next step after this is that we vote.
Yep. And I think that if we put out the numbers that it appears that we will have tomorrow, as happened in the first two, then the mobilization around voting becomes all that more fired up and encouraged and inspired. And I think that it is absolutely correct. Well, thank you for coming on. I know you're also going to join me on Politics Nation tomorrow. For people around the country that may not know how to locate where the march may be in their city, tell them where they can go online to find out where in their city the No Kings March gathering will be.
Great. All you have to do is get to some, browser and type in No Kings, and you'll see a mobilized app that says where to go, and you can go to aft.org and type in No Kings, and you'll see it. It's all over.
All right.
3,300 sites for now.
Thank right there. Thank you for your call. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton, Exhale Friday. Be right back. Keeping it real. Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I lived this. I didn't read this. I lived it. I was there.
You true to this?
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Vote to phone true.
He was, Jack O'Dell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. Say he was a communist.
Okay, wow.
Jack O'Dell and Stanley Levinson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movement would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Just us.
Just us.
But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be an educator, but I am somebody. Black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
Come today. I see the Reverend Jesse Jackson is here. Yes. Lord, we thank you for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Yes. I see the Honorable Maxine Waters is here. Yes. We thank for Maxine Waters. You see the Reverend Al Sharpton is here. Yes. We thank
National Action Network. Power in action. 35 years of justice, impact, and purpose.
Wow. This is the Saturday after I had done 90 days in federal jail for leading a protest in Vieques, Puerto Rico. And I had went down to join Latino activists that were against the Navy bombings that was exercising Navy bombings that was causing asthma and health effects among the children there. And I was on my way to Saturday rally one Saturday, and I said, if they're going down there protesting that, and there were protesters, they would go out in the Navy base in the field and lay down, and they'd arrest them for being on federal property. And if they were doing that, then I would join them, because many of the Latino leaders went to jail with us protesting Amadou Diallo. I ended up having to do 90 days in federal jail. They transferred me from the federal prison in Puerto Rico, me and 3 others that went. They only got 40 days. They said because had a long sheet that it was of many other civil rights arrests, they gave me 90 days. I had to do 50 by myself. When I got out and went to the Saturday rally, Stephanie Mills, who we'd known each other since we were kids, she was there and sang at the rally that Saturday. That's her singing Home, as soon as I get home. One, she knew I loved the song, but 2, it was appropriate because I was coming home. And we won that. They closed the Navy base in Vieques, Puerto Rico. You go there now, there's buildings and condos and a little plaque for the 4 of us. They call the Vieques 4.
you.
for a new course, a new coalition, a new leadership. Somebody got to rise above race, rise above sex, a new leadership, a choice, a chance. Don't pride by what you don't have, use what you got. Everybody in town was scared of Goliath. We got more and more folk and fewer services. We cannot stop. We got to rise on higher. Little David. Little David. Little David. Took off his unnecessary garments. Little David. Didn't want to get weighted down with a lot of foolishness. Little David. Took what God gave him, a slingshot and a God biscuit, a rock.
That I want to end. He talked about the dry bones in the valley.
Don't take it that.
The only reason that the wind could blow life into the bones is because at some point they had to be connected. If the wind had blown into a disconnected body, it still wouldn't have worked. So before he prophesied to the wind, they had to first get the foot bone to connect to the ankle bone, and the ankle bone to the calf bone, and to the knee bone, and the knee bone to the thigh bone. If we are to prophesy to the wind, we must first connect this body. We must connect Eddie Long to Farrakhan and Cornel West to Elders and Lowry to Sharpton. If we can connect this body, then God will blow the breath of life into our community. But as long as we are disconnected, the wind can't blow because it's blowing on disconnected dry bones. But the good news is that we're the children of people that have been through worse than this, and we're still here. So even though I get despondent, I don't ever get depressed, because I want the world to know you won't beat us, because we're the children of those that took the worst form of slavery and brutality that ever lived, that ever existed. Our parents survived the Middle Passage. Only the strong got here, and then we lost our name, our culture, our religion, and we're still here. But you don't know who we are. We're the children of Chaka Zulu. We're the children of Mary McLeod Bethune. We're the children of Marcus Garvey. We're the children of Martin Luther King. We'll be here. We were first, and we'll be last. We know who we are. Military National Guard to D.C. Yeah, that is a fact. You know, people talk about this is almost a police state. It is a police state in Washington. This is going to lead to some confrontations between police and citizens.
It's the capital. It's the nation's capital. It's Washington, D.C. Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York, keeping it real. It's Exhale Friday. And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You're live. Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. It's Exhale Friday, 1-877-532-5797. Let me also say, as many of you heard and knew from yesterday or got from the news, that I and others, Attorney Ben Crump, went and did the funeral yesterday. I did the eulogy for this young man killed by police in Hartford, Connecticut, and demanding justice and demanding this cop that just came, 3 cops there trying to talk him down, having a mental episode. They were there 12 minutes. 4th cop pulls up in a car and in 90 seconds shoots him 9 times, 3 times on the ground. So we went in demanding justice. I was just informed the mayor of Hartford has fired that did the killing. which is a step in the right direction, but that is not the end of it. He'll be prosecuted, and we need to have some thorough review of how to deal with mental health episodes in Hartford. The second mental health episode, a killing rather, of someone with an episode in the last 9 days. So I thank the mayor for doing what he can do. I think it's good, but it should not end the story. But I do think that's a good start. Let me go to our co-host, as always, every Friday to close out the week, is the senior pastor of the historic King Solomon Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan, and the head of National Expansion, Michigan State Chair of the National Action Network, Reverend Charles Williams II. How you doing, Reverend?
All is well, and it is always good to be with you yet here on another Exhale Friday. You know, Rev, there are those who have stood up and fought back in the halls of the Senate and Congress and holding their ground, making sure that one, these immigration ICE agents aren't in the streets anymore killing residents. And because they stood up and because they've been fighting back, we have seen significant movement, as many people have read today, in making sure that the TSA folks are taken care of, while at the very same time keeping ICE off the streets. Now, it reminds us that we got to continue fight. It ain't over, and there's no time to be slapping high fives and saying we won. But we've been holding and standing our ground on this issue across the country, and because of that, we are seeing that there's significant process getting ready to happen in regards to the TSA agents being paid and ICE agents continuing to be on hold. That just reminds us that we have to continue to organize. You just fought police brutality case in Connecticut where a man was killed with a mental illness. And this just continues to remind us of the fact that we've got to continue to organize. So I ask folks to join us at this at this National Action Network National Convention, because this is one of our organizing spaces. It's one of our organizing places, and we're going to do it in New York at the New York Times Square, Sheridan, where we've been for the last, I guess it's been there the last 35 years, for the 35-year National Action Network National Convention. So join us. If you haven't done it, you can still go. I think you still allowing folks to register for it, because I know we was up to 7,000 last time they count, but you can try to register. Call the office 877-626-4651 and join the National Action Network for our national convention coming up just now, shy of a couple of weeks.
All right, and yes, you can register. We're a
Okay.
little over 9,000. I'm gonna cut it off 10,000 because I know that's the seating capacity for our workshop. So you can go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, nationalactionnetwork.net, and register, or call the toll-free number 1-877-532. I'm sorry, 1-877-626-4651. All right, let's go to Todd in Cleveland, Ohio. Todd.
Hey, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Yes,
Reverend
sir.
Charles Williams. So I'm going to put my last one in for the month as far as Women's Month. That will be Sarah Vaughan. I'll explain why later, not just because today's her birthday. The great Sarah Vaughan. But I have a question for you. The murder of, I don't want to mispronounce her name, Excedia Matei, your National Action Network person who was murdered last spring about 11 months ago. Where you guys at? Where's the city and your group at with the case at this point?
With which case is this, and what city?
The National Action Network member, I mispronounced her name, Excedia Matei, the woman that was murdered to own the Bodega in New York City, 61 years old. One of your members got murdered.
You had to give
last
me
year.
you have to give me clear name. I do not know the one you're referring to by the way you're
Okay.
pronouncing it.
You had a member of National Action Network last April that was murdered. 61-year-old woman. She owned a bodega in New York City, and she was murdered like maybe the 21st of April last year. And we talked about it on air. That's the reason why I knew about it.
All right. Again, maybe you mispronouncing the name. I do not have any recall on what you're talking about.
You don't remember one of your National Action Network people being
Third
murdered?
time. And we get
Okay, I'll let
a
that
lot
one
of it.
go.
A lot of it. We unfortunately have to deal with many murders. But for the third time, I think you might be mispronouncing her name. I do not
Her last
remember
name is
that
Matei.
case.
Her last name is Matei, M-E-T-T-E, Matei. And her first name is spelled E-X-C-I.
All right, let's go on to the next call. Let's go to Bertha in Atlanta, Georgia. If I say I'm unfamiliar 3 times, I don't know what else I can say because I don't want to misinform people. And being that Reverend Williams, we run chapters all over the country, including 3 offices in New York. I don't know why Todd would think I would, off the top of my head, remember one case from last year and don't even know if he's saying the number right. So why am I going to waste a lot of airtime on that? Let's go to Bertha in Cleveland, Ohio. Bertha, you're keeping it real with Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Reverend Williams and Reverend Sharpton.
Good afternoon.
You let him know that you don't have your degree in mind reading.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, do you know how many cases we have a year? I don't get it. Okay.
You know, Reverend, we need to. I was just thinking about these people that are working and made to be working without pay. I don't know if they realize now these people can't even get the car fare, plane fare, any kind of transportation funds to even get to work. And they're being brutalized with this so-called ICE people who I call KKK, Ku Klux Klan. I feel that the money should come to those, donations should come to those people who are getting checks to afford for these people that are working. They need to come out of their pockets and donate some funds, or either go come up with the what you call that, the money that they have for the government when they want to donate. They need to come out with something, because these people can't even put food on the table. They can't get to work. It's unreal to have them to come, expect them to come to work without anything. So I think some donations should come out of their checks that they're getting. Again, this resident, I don't call him president, who's residing in the White House. He's residing in the White House, and I'm his landlord. We can't go along with this another 3 months, not even another 3 days. We need to come out with what we can do to get this situation changed, because this is unreal. He said, that was a song that our my former director wrote. Satan, the Lord is against you. The word of God rebukes you. You better get out of my way. So this is to the Republicans and those who are this crazy man that's in the White House, and I'm calling him crazy. We need to come together, and right now it doesn't matter whether you're Republican, Democrat, or whatever. We need to come together and get this situation done now. This is unreal, but we're going through. My car is in the shop, has been in the shop since December, but since then, the gas has gone up.
Yeah.
I'm expecting almost to pay it'll be $400 something before we get $400, almost $5 a gallon by the time I get my car, which I hope it will be this week. But at the same time, it's unreal to expect us to pay all of this money for something that we should not be in. For one thing, it's illegal, unconstitutional, and it's just wrong. So we need to get rid of this man, impeach him now. Something needs to be done.
Well, I definitely
Thank you, Reverend.
Right. You have a blessed weekend. Thank you for your call. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Williams. Be right back.
Hello, New Orleans.
tell you straight, they did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Black Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine, because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are. Because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless you. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on. Around this is so wicked. Now they're going to, they released last night a memo that said that the FBI was investigating Good. They're trying to come up with something on the victim. Not they're going to investigate who shot her. The ICE agent shooting in the head 3 times. They're going to investigate her. And you wonder why we need movements. You wonder why we need to stand up. Hakeem Jeffries was here Monday. Why we need to deal with this midterm election. Well, Reverend, I get calls on my radio show every day. Well, I don't see where voting changed them. Well, all right, let me tell you where if they lose the Congress this year, where it changes. The Speaker would be Hakeem Jeffries, who grew up right here in Name, as he said on Monday. The Speaker decides then the calendar for the legislative session. The chairs of the committees become Democrats. So the Judiciary Committee, now watch this in the barbershop. The chair of the Judiciary Committee, y'all saw the Judiciary Committee have the hearing and brought in the special counsel yesterday. Well, the chair this time, if the Democrats win, would be a Democrat who could then subpoena the Attorney General Bondi, all of the folks that were involved in January 6th. They can subpoena the Vice President, all of them, because you've got the power of the gavel. Wonder why nobody has asked Pence how he felt running for his life January 6th. Well, if you get the Judiciary Committee, you can subpoena Pence.
This is a defining moment. As our world faces urgent challenges, the movement comes together. National Action Network's 35th anniversary and convention, April 8th through the 11th. Leaders, activists, and community voices united for justice and change. The moment is now. Be in the...
Where in history is this? He said we always go 1 step forward and 2 backward. Well, here we are now. The problem is not Trump. The problem is us. We are allowing ourselves to be lowered and our children to feel inferior because you don't have an I am somebody person. You got our artists calling our women bees. Our others calling us niggas. What happened to us? What happened to black and proud? What happened? I'm gonna vote. What happened? Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. What happened to us?
Voting rights! Voting rights. Everyone look here. Say it again, Ms. Pearl. Voting rights. Voting rights. One more time, Ms. Pearl. Voting rights. There we go. Voting rights. Voting rights. Voting rights. Voting rights. Voting rights. When do we want it? Now. When do we need it? Now. Yesterday. What do we want? Voting rights. When do we need it? Now. What do we want? Voting rights. When do we need it? Now.
But Reverend, it looks bad now. Look at Iran. Look at what's going on in Minnesota. Look on. Yeah, but I was raised by them to realize that after storms, if we do the right thing in the storm, if we organize, if we register, if we do what we're supposed to do, there's always a rainbow coming out. The rainbow don't show until the storm is over. The rainbow gonna come out in November. The rainbow gonna come out in 28. We gonna fix these tricks in 26 and march through the gates in 28. We didn't come this far to turn around now. We won't go back. We won't go back. We won't go back. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Reverend Charles Williams II is our co-host, as he has been since the death of our original co-host in the week of Keeping It Real with Al Sharpton. Great journalist, and I still miss him, Charles, because there's really not anyone I'm trying to think as I'm talking that I would even put at the same kind of level that I would put George Curry in terms of being an expert in journalism and totally committed to the movement. George Curry was one of a kind when he was in a mainstream periodical, as well as when he was had founded and started Emerge magazine. So you fill some big shoes. Not only would you do as pastor and head of the chapter and the region really for National Action Network, but taking his slot to end the week because he was a phenomenal man. He's another one I was honored to do his the eulogy at his funeral in Alabama. But a real giant, George Curry. Hello?
Hey, Alex Baraka.
Yeah. I cannot hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I was saying, yeah, August of 2016 when he passed, and certainly it's been an honor and a great appreciation of mine to be here every Friday. I try to have the same track record you got with the radio show and MSNBC. You never miss a show. But even in all my trying, I still have a hard time. But we certainly greatly appreciative of always being here for you and being here with the Keeping It Real audience.
All right, let's go to phones. Let's go to Mr. Wells in Metaverse. Mr. Wells.
Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton.
Good afternoon.
Yes, and the gentleman, what's his name again, the co-host right now?
Reverend Williams.
Reverend Williams. Reverend Sharpton, I'm in the spectrum of political thought, and I support Trump, and I gave him money, but I've been a black activist in my career, SCLC. Just got a couple of questions for you and a clarification about gas.
About what?
Talking to you, I said I got a couple of clarifications. The lady who was talking to you, what state is she from?
I don't know what lady you're talking about.
But she brought up gas prices. I just want to just clarify for the listening audience.
I do not know what lady you're talking about.
Well, okay. Just for the AAA gas prices right now, Reverend Sharpton, it's less than $4 a gallon. Every day AAA updates it. $3.27.28 is $3.97, almost $3.98. Most of the ones that are in the red, there's 5 areas: red, light red, white, light blue, blue. Most of the states that are above 584 to 419 are out west, with the exception of Illinois. Everyone else is under $4.19.
Well, what your point is what? So you're saying that because some people's gas has gone up and others, you're saying is not going up as much, that justifies going into a war that we don't understand what the war is about and what is the benefit, and you have every major economic interest concerned about it? Are you saying that the Strait at Hormuz doesn't matter? I mean, I don't understand your point.
I'm saying, allow me to respond. If she's exaggerating what gas prices
we have both agreed that we don't know who she is, so I asked you a question.
I'm talking about the gas price. I'm about the country in general, what we're paying for gas. It's only going above $100 a barrel for like less than 2 weeks. If you look at Biden,
and those $100 a barrel cost more money to people at the pump, and to continue to engage that, where it will only increase. People that have to come out of their pocket more, if it's 10 cents or $10, have a right to be concerned about it and have a right to say, why are we engaged in this?
Okay, I'm just saying the metrics of 1 month. Let's be fair. This is going on.
No, you be fair.
Month.
I told you I didn't care if it was 1 day. Okay?
Okay, but I'm saying, but
let's go on to your next. You said you had 2 points. Go to the next point, because we're not going to agree on that. You're trying to say it doesn't matter because it's only 2 weeks. I'm saying it does matter. So okay, now, we disagree. Now, to go on to the next point.
Okay. You trust Randy Weingartner, no Kings. You know she's been the president of AFT since 2008. She has been the president of AFT since August of 2008. It's now 2026. That organization started in 1916. For 110 years of an organization that comes out of the AFL movement, she is a queen. Now, I find that
how is she a queen when she runs every time there's an election and they reelect her president?
Term limits.
What term limits? If the union members, you're talking about teachers now who are highly educated, if the teachers that are highly educated decide they want to keep someone who represents them, then that is an educated choice. Now, it's interesting. You want to put term limits on union leaders, but a lot of conservatives fight term limits. Otherwise, she's not in a public office. Taxpayers are not paying her salary. The union members are, and if that's who they feel best represents them, then that is their choice.
Okay, may I respond?
Yeah.
The 1.7 million members are going to be, so they're leaning on the teachers to show up. And as well, do you know?
What about 1.7 million members? What about them?
That's how many members in AFP.
And your point is?
A lot of the civil disobedience we saw going back to 2020, those were teachers going to places like Oregon around. They were union members being in the Antifa movement. Y'all don't want to call it out.
Well, that's a lie, and you know that's a lie. You saw union members going around with the George Floyd movement and others. If they were in the Antifa movement, they would have been prosecuted. You are saying a blatant lie. I don't have a problem with you supporting Trump if that's what you want to do. I don't have a problem with you being MAGA if that's what you want. But don't lie. Now you're going to sit up there and accuse teachers of going to. You couldn't give me one iota evidence that that's true because it's not true. Thank you for your call. Let's go to, come on. People should at least deal with facts. And all of this about with Randy Weingarten, the president, if the union wanted to keep electing her, then that is correct. If people, it is amazing to me, and I get it, and you get it, I'm sure, in your chapter. If you're not a member of that union, then how do you even have the right to question what the members voted?
You don't.
I mean, what are you talking about? Like people ask me about what you're going to do with NAN. NAN members need to decide that, not some outsider. And maybe Randy's leadership has been proven to be that effective. That's up to the people in the union. The arrogance of that. Simple. I'm not in the union. I don't agree with the union. In fact, I'm going to accuse some of them of being with Antifa, but I'm going to decide who your leader ought to be. How arrogant and cocky is that? Oh, but you support Trump, so why should I expect much logic? Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Williams. Be right back. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton time. It's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. You need to keep it real with Reverend Al Sharpton right here on Uber TV. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones-Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real. with Sharpton.
Happy 20th anniversary to Reverend Al Sharpton on 20 years of keeping it real. 2 decades of truth-telling, fearless advocacy, and keeping the people informed and empowered. Thank you for always speaking power to justice and standing firm for what's right. Here's to 20 years of impact and many more to come.
That I want to end. He talked about the dry bones in the valley.
I'll tell you that.
The only reason that the wind could blow life into the bones is because at some point they had to be connected. If the wind had blown into a disconnected body, it still wouldn't have worked. So before he prophesied to the wind, they had to first get the foot bone to connect to the ankle bone, and the ankle bone to the calf bone, and to the knee bone, and the knee bone to the thigh bone. If we are to prophesy to the wind, we must first connect this body. We must connect Eddie Long to Farrakhan and Cornel West to Elders and Lowry to Sharpton. If we can connect this body, then God will blow the breath of life into our community. But as long as we are disconnected, the wind can't blow because it's blowing on disconnected dry bones. But the good news is that we're the children of people that have been through worse than this, and we're still here. So even though I get despondent, I don't ever get depressed, because I want the world to know you won't beat us, because we're the children of those that took the worst form of slavery and brutality that ever lived, that ever existed. Our parents survived the Middle Passage. Only the strong got here, and then we lost our name, our culture, our religion, and we're still here. But you don't know who we are. We're the children of Chaka Zulu. We're the children of Mary McLeod Bethune. We're the children of Marcus Garvey. We're the children of Martin Luther King. We'll be here. We were first and we'll be last. We know who we are.
We have a short visit, so we just wanted to greet you all and thank you for allowing us in. Yes, sir. We was here.
They were on the plantation.
Our family was on the plantation. Wow. And that's, of course, that's the slave house. It's one of the slave houses.
Good to see you, sir. It's been 13 years.
That's right.
Good to
How
see
you been?
Doing fine. Good.
Right, last time. And we,
Alexander Sharpton. How many slaves were staying there?
I have no idea.
This is where they would have a slave.
Yeah, that's when exactly. That was exactly. The two people
that most influenced my life was from South Carolina, James and Jesse. Jesse right up the road with me. I went for his mother's funeral. Jesse walked me to my mother's casket. To South Carolina. That's the balance of my life, James and Jesse.
Yeah.
Civil rights, shoulders.
But also where your people from, too.
Literally.
Yeah, right.
And when I knew Jesse was from James, I started president.
Yeah.
And James had died before I knew about it in South Carolina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. James died December 25th. He died Christmas Day, 06. And they came to do the story for February of 07. They came in January. His daughter sweat out his daddy and Evan pushed it.
Reverend Al Sharpton, Reverend Charles Williams is our co-host. Let me remind you again, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, both tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's going to be action-packed this weekend. Tomorrow, I'm going to have on actor Robert De Niro live in studio, who's coming with us from the No King's March. Also, the great artist himself will be with us. In fact, he's also going to be at the National Action Network convention, being honored for his artistry. The one and only Billy Porter will be with us on Politics Nation tomorrow, as well as Senator Cory Booker and Dan Goldman. And on Sunday, we're going to have Greg Meeks, the ranking Democrat on Foreign Affairs, tell us what's really going on in Iran. Congressman Kwesi Mfume. Action-packed weekend on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton, 5 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it and be a part of it. You that are in the tri-state area, meet me to the Saturday Action Rally in the morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Mother AME Zion Church, 137th between Lenox and 7th in Harlem. And as we are very close to our own headquarters closing, we already signed the contracts. The closing date will be right before the convention, and we'll be ready to move on. And I'm excited about it. Every day get more and more excited. But in the morning, be there 9 to 11 at the house at the AME Zion Church, the House of Justice meeting. And it's the church Frederick Douglass and Sojourner Truth all are worshipped in this historic church, 137th Street in Harlem. And of course, the convention starts the 8th of April to the 11th. Everyone from Martin Luther King Jr., and as I said, Billy Porter, and most of the national people being discussed in the presidential race. Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania, Governor Beshear of Kentucky, Governor Westmore of Maryland, Governor Pritzker of Illinois. All of them have confirmed to be there. Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris will be there. All of it free, but you should register. I'm probably going to have to close registration this weekend because we're getting real close to 10,000, and that's capacity. So I let it go all the way up and got larger rooms, but I can't seat people that we don't have room for. So sign in because we go by the list at www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Reverend Williams, what's going on at National Action Network Detroit tomorrow?
Lot to deal with. First of all, for those who still want to get to the convention, you still got time to sign up, and you still got time to get with the groups that'll be leaving from Detroit and throughout the Midwest. So come tomorrow, get the information. They'll be right there. Be right at as soon as you sign in. And we got the young black lawyers fighting for justice. They'll be in town, and they'll be presenting tomorrow during the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally here in Michigan. And then, of course, we're going to deal with the election and going forward. We've got a visit coming up from a couple Senate candidates as well as a couple of gubernatorial candidates. So you don't want to miss the action. Join us tomorrow at 10 a.m. Historic King Solomon Baptist Church, 6100 14th Street.
All right, let us go to the phones and let's go to Marcia McCoy. We missed her and Bishop Cavanis last week because they were at a funeral of one of our great gladiators. So let's go to Sister President of the Greater Cleveland Chapter National Action Network, the irrepressible, invincible Marcia McCoy.
Thank you to our Reverend Dr. Professor Al Sharpton and Reverend Charles Williams. I am happy to announce that National Action Network Greater Cleveland Chapter is celebrating 15 years of the 35-year of existence of the National Action Network. And we are proud of that.
We're proud of it too. Wow.
And with that being said, tomorrow we will celebrate our 15th year of having a Women's History Month program. But the greatest thing about it, there's a school called the Ian Thompson Girls Academy. We will be celebrating, honoring, and embracing those young people on tomorrow. We've had this schedule. We've been doing it for years and years and years. And we're just so proud to have the people that will be in attendance on tomorrow. One last thing. We have 3 universities that we've embraced, law students that are starting chapters on their campus. So I just wanted to make that announcement. I'm just happy. Come on, Bishop.
Dr. Al Sharpton.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Charles Williams.
Yes, sir.
Hold my mule, my brother.
I got you, Rev.
My brothers and my sisters, history teaches us that so-called invincible, powerful nations don't fall from forces without, but from tyranny within. Such is evident in America today. The soul of America is at a place where it has hardly ever been before. We have a president operating in the Oval Office that is as dangerous to the peace and tranquility of the world and the well-being of our nation than ever before. As Vince Caster has written, the real threat to the peace and tranquility of the world is not a rogue nation as that of the nation of Iran, but a proverbial, serial, lying, flawed, temperamental, convicted felon who is filled with hate, deceit, bigotry, narcissism, hypocrisy, and rancid racism. In the Epstein files, this tyrant is alleged to have consorted with a 13-year-old girl and convicted of sexual assault against E. Jean Carroll. He's even initiated a war without congressional approval and chances the death of thousands of young men and women dying uselessly on foreign soil. He is a man determined to decimate and obliterate diversity, equity, and inclusion. His Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, is attempting to deny, as we speak, the promotion of 2 black men to become 1-star generals. He is one who wants to be a king, Trump that is, a dictator, and rule as long as he can, deny elections, prevent people of color, especially black people, whom he has gone out of his way to contribute to white supremacist Christian nationalism. As bad as the nation of 92 million Iranians are, and trust me, they are, they cannot wreck the alliances that made America strong, but Trump can, and he is. Outside forces are not as dangerous to our democracy as one evil, selfish, demonic, and diabolical conflicted man as sitting in the highest position in America. American blood being needlessly spilled on foreign soil by a power-hungry, wannabe ruler of the world is a real threat to world peace, order, and tranquility. As much as Iran wants to bankrupt America, Trump can, and he is. With his conquest of Venezuela, his efforts to seize Greenland, take over Cuba, sacrifice Ukraine, rearrange the Gaza Strip, all helping Russia and China, and weakening America. We are bordering on the precipice of doom and disaster. Wake up, America. Don't allow our young soldiers to die for a lie. Vote to fix out in 2026. Thank you, Doctor.
All right. Thank you for your call. Thank you for your call. Thank you, Dr. McCoy. Let me try to get one more call in before we go. Let me give you the news flash. The Republicans in the House of Representatives, James Thomas is sending, and I'm seeing it on my email feed, that the Republicans failed to agree on DH funding. So Trump is signing an executive action to pay the employees after Congress fails to agree. So we don't know whether that can be enforced or not. But the Republicans would not agree with the Senate that voted to pay the TSA workers. So stay tuned on that one. Let's go to Adela in Cleveland, Ohio. Adela.
Good afternoon, Reverend Sharpton and Reverend Williams. It's so nice to hear your voices, but I know we're short on time. I just want to throw a couple of things in there. Todd was trying to mention Xenia Mate out of Harlem, New York. She owns the Bodega. But I also want to put emphasis on what Reverend Kavanaugh just said about our country becoming bankrupted, because we are definitely solvent now, according to the Treasury Department back about 3 weeks ago. We're in a bad shape with the country's being bankrupted while we're sleeping, being distracted by the war. And just in case anybody has forgotten, the DHS has been trying to basically bust the union for the TSA workers, and this is their primary focus of doing so by making them get frustrated and quitting. This is all strategic. It's a setup, and the country's in desperate straits, and the gas prices and everything else is too high. And I watch you every Saturday and Sunday, and I listen to you Monday through Friday. I have a talk show every Saturday, so I get a lot of points from you. So thank you for all that you do and all you've done, and I'll catch you next time. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for your call. And again, what I repeat, and I thank you for your call and regard you gave it. But I repeat, we run a national organization, and every one of our offices has a crisis department. So just saying to me the name without the circumstances or whatever, I would not recall. And I don't even know whether it was handled through our crisis department or National Action Network, or whether it was something else. I just don't know. And so to hit me with a name cold and ask me something happened a year ago, then what happened? I don't really think that's fair. I couldn't even ask Reverend Williams, who has the state there. What about so-and-so happened a year ago? I mean, who does that? I don't get it. I thought Todd was a little more in tune than that. All right. Let me get ready to go. Let me thank Reverend Charles Williams. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened in, you that called in and couldn't get through but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell anybody, tell everybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real.